rest of the crew. All right, so you would have received your minutes for the meeting. If you can take a look at them really quick, let me know if there's any updates or changes that need to be done. Of course, the minutes were held at the last National Night Out. It wasn't an official meeting, but everyone got together. So if I can get a motion to pass.
I would move it's appropriate that I move to approve my own minutes.
You know what, Bob, or Moises, unfortunately, it doesn't look like you have a quorum to do that.
Oh, the quorum, that's fine. Then we can go ahead and hold off for next meeting then. All right, so we'll table that for now. All right, then we'll move on next to our captain's remarks. Captain Sandoval, it's totally falls in your court.
Thanks, Moises. Hey guys, it's great to see you. There's only a few of us, but we've got some important folks here, so it's always good to see everyone. Last month, in lieu of our C-PAB meeting, we had National Night Out. Thought it was a true success, despite COVID and still things kind of in flux. We had some great folks that showed up, great turnout, and really a great chance to get with the community. So we really enjoyed that evening. As far as Olympic, we're kind of like we've been the last year. We're struggling with our grand theft autos. Just to give a quick update with our crime. Cars are being stolen right and left. Majority of them are vehicles that are parked on the street. Some folks that live in parking structures, the cars are being stolen, but mostly folks that park them on the street. Some lock them, some don't lock them. But the thing that we're still noticing is people leaving keys in their vehicles. Despite all the education, a lot of folks are leaving their keys in their car, particularly if they have tandem parking. So the person that parks behind them, they each have each other's keys inside the vehicle. Someone breaks in and they steal both cars. So just a reminder, tell your family and friends, like we keep saying, keep the cars locked. Do not keep keys in the vehicle. And a lot of the Uber Eats or some of the different delivery drivers double park, leave the keys in, the ignition running, and they go inside, make their delivery, the car is gone. So just a reminder, do not leave the car with the keys in, unattended, still running, and with property inside the vehicle. We've also noticed that we've had a slight increase in our catalytic converters being stolen from vehicles. And that's a huge expense for someone that owns their vehicle. To get it replaced, you're talking $800 up to maybe $1,400 to get it replaced. So actually we had a really nice task force this past Saturday where our auto detectives and our burglary detectives, they utilized our police garage tow yard on Washington Boulevard, and they did a catalytic converter theft prevention task force. And basically they had some signups at National Night Out. They were out there, and then we, through our senior lead officers and the community relations office, we did some outreach, and we were able to get 28 people to come, and their car was lifted up, and then the detectives etched their serial number on the catalytic converter. They painted with a stencil LAPD and a badge. So hopefully if someone goes underneath the car and wants to steal the catalytic converter, they'll see that there's something marked on that, and they'll decide to move on. So we plan to do another one in the near future. We'll make sure that folks on C-PAB are aware of it. So if you want to bring your vehicle by, there's no charge. And we'll make sure that we get you guys involved in that as well. And if any of you would like to assist that day, it's always a great event to work with the community, with C-PAB, and with our officers. But that's about it here in Olympic. The officers are healthy. We're still taking COVID very seriously with our masks and with our hand sanitizer and social distancing. So that is it that I have right now from Olympic Division. So thank you for the time, Moises.
All right, thank you very much. And actually, kind of timely you mentioned it. I was actually this last weekend. I was actually at a business near the area picking something up, and in the 10 minutes it took me to go inside, talk to the owner, wait for my package to pick it up. He had run out and ran back in, and in those 10 minutes, someone had actually stole his catalytic converter out of his car. So just to give you an idea, it is a big deal. So I would highly recommend people go ahead and take advantage of this situation. Captain, if you need me, if you need an extra body on that day, by all means, let me know, and I'll be happy to be there to help out.
Thank you.
All right, so next on the docket, discussion of the El Salvador Foundation event. Sergeant Puentes, any information on that?
Yeah, so we had that event just about 2 Saturdays ago, went very well. We gave out, I would say, upwards of about 5,000 care packages, backpacks, clothing, food. We over 5,000 people come through for sure. So we were, like I said, we were giving a lot of the school. The backpacks were for the return to school, so a lot of school supplies for the kids, clothing for the kids, all kinds of food. So great event. We have to partner up with the El Salvador Foundation. There were a lot of resources there. They had COVID testing available for people. They were supposed to have a vaccine clinic, but that didn't work out. But they had other resources there like legal aid and some other stuff. So great event.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. All right, then we're going to discuss rental assistance and economic small business development, which I'm handling that one. So I'm going to quickly share my screen really quick. I just want to bring attention. Oh, post disabled participation. I cannot share my screen, unfortunately. So, oh, Captain, it looks like I'm not able to share my screen. Sergeant Puentes, it doesn't look like I can share my screen. And I don't know if that's what you can quickly do. I can't hear you. You're muted.
Hold on a second. Can you give them authority to share screen?
I think we're working on that, Moises. Let's see. Maybe you try to share it. I don't know.
There you go. So you've got the ability to share the screen, but I don't think I have.
If you can make him a co-host, he can share his screen.
What's that, Gabriel?
If you make him a co-host, which should just be, I think, if you select his face on the Zoom, he can share his screen.
We need you here in the room with us. We are struggling.
Oh no! If you go to my picture, you see those little three dots. If you mouse over it, there should be a way to. Let's see. Give me the ability to co-host.
We're not seeing 3 dots over your name.
Oh, it should be in the right-hand corner next to when you mouse over, you see mute and little 3 dots.
Oh, he sees it. Okay.
Try now.
All right, there you go. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Gabriel, thank you. It's nice to have folks that are young. Appreciate it. Moises, you too.
All right. Okay, hold on one second. Let me just set this up really quick. Okay, so.
I'll close that one.
All right, so we'll start with the rental assistance program. Everyone can see my screen?
Yeah, we see it.
All right, so this is a very important program that people go ahead and apply to if they've had problems paying for their rents, or it actually is also available for property owners as well. If you have any unpaid rent and you have been either find yourself behind, the state is providing a grant to residents of the state in order to apply and get part of that back end rent paid off through the Americans the legislation that they recently passed in Congress. So this is the website housing.ca.gov-covid-_RR. It is again a very simple process to go ahead and apply online. Go ahead and tell them how your current situation, where do you live, what your current rental situation is. Once it's processed, usually takes anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks to get approved in order to get some state aid to help you pay off your rent. Important in our area, particularly since unemployment is still a little bit on the high side and people have been having a hard time getting back to work because of COVID. So this will help them make sure that they can still afford to live here and can pay off any past due rent that they might have. So if you know of anyone who might benefit from this program, by all means, please let them know. The other program, which is the economic program being run by the city, it's called the Comeback Checks Program. There's $37 million available to small and medium-sized businesses for grants anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 per business, depending on how you your specifics and how you qualify. Again, it's being run by the EWDD through the City of LA, and the link is there, ewlacity.com, or just do a search for the Comeback Checks Program. They will require some information. You do have to apply to your local business source center. I believe our local one here is actually on Whittier, Wilshire Boulevard. And so it was important to go ahead and give them a call, email them, find out, if you qualify and apply, because potential for $15,000 is a lot to help you out with business, particularly now with COVID. Right? And that takes over my side of the meeting. So we'll move over to open forums. If anyone has any questions, comments.
Moises, could you give us those URLs again? I didn't get either one of them.
Absolutely. So what I'll do is I will stick them in the chat. If it makes it.
I'm not in control of the board, so I'm not going to.
All right. So
I have housing.ca.gov/something.
Okay. So the first one would be housing.ca.gov.
Yeah.
/COVID_RR.
RR, Robert, Romeo.
Yep.
Okay.
And for the Comeback Checks Program, it's ewddlacity.com.
EWBB?
DD as in David.
BD, okay. Echo Whiskey Bravo David.
Yep, double Davids, LAcity.
Double David.
Yeah.
BD, all right.
Yeah, and you can do a search for Comeback Checks Program. And you can go ahead and get the application there and a link to where you can apply. Right. So again, if you know of anyone who can benefit from these programs, by all means, parrot it out and let them know that's available. Right. So with that said, anything for open forum? Any comments?
Yeah, so Moises, we got a special guest today.
Yep.
I'll introduce you, Jerry Sanchez from Department of Alcohol Beverage Control. Want to introduce yourself, sir?
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jerry Sanchez with the California Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control, and I'm in charge of this region here for the LA area. And I want to thank Captain Sandoval. I want to thank Moses. Thank you very much for having me on last minute, and of course Sergeant Puente. Basically, what our department is trying to do is try to be more active in our C-PAB meetings. I have participated with the C-PAB in Hollywood, but I've done a very poor job, frankly, of participating with Olympic and some of the other stations that fall within my jurisdiction, actually. So this is my first one, and it's just wonderful to first kind of meet everybody, see the lay of the land. As far as ABC is concerned, we had a lot of activity, at the height of COVID with the unlicensed locations in the Koreatown area. It's always been a problem for us. We work very closely with Vice. We've worked closely with Vice for as long as I've been around with ABC. It's my 22nd year. But during COVID, it got especially bad. And some of the very legitimate business owners there were very concerned, that they're paying all their fees and they're paying, they're doing the right thing by applying, for an ABC license and getting approval through LAPD and the whole process. And we had quite a few operators that just decided to forego that whole thing and, started selling alcohol without a license. So we did have the most complaints for my district came out of the Olympic station, and we paired up with LAPD several times. And through those efforts and the efforts of my own crew, we've been able to get that under control. I currently probably have maybe 2 complaints left. At the height, we probably had, I think more than 10, I believe. It can be very difficult to work these locations, for our community members. It's very difficult to work these locations because they require a very specific brand of undercover agent. LAPD has some resources for us. In some of these locations, if you don't, just being Asian is not enough. You have to be, either very specific. You have to be Cambodian, for instance, or if you're, of Chinese descent, you have to be very fluent in Chinese and Vietnamese, whatever the case might be. We have a couple of operators in our department. The problem is they're pretty burned because we use them a lot, and and LA has done a really good job helping us, with UCs as well. But people move around and people have other assignments. So that is the biggest challenge that we have when it comes to working these locations, is we just can't get in. It's very, very difficult to get in and do the proper undercover work to make the arrests. So what we've been doing is basically notifying some of these, especially some of the owners of the establishments, letting them know that they may have an operator that's conducting business outside of or illegally, for in short. And we have noticed that some of it has subsided, but frankly, I don't know if it's because the complaints have stopped coming in, or the operators, the people that do this, have become a little more organized, and they're a little more cautious, and people are not calling us or LAPD. We usually get the same complaint. If somebody complains to LAPD Vice, we'll probably get the same complaint at some point at our end as well. Aside from that, everything else is fairly quiet. Our operators in the Olympic area, aside from, like I said, those operators that are not getting their ABC license and selling alcohol, we don't have a lot of issues. It's a blessing. It's really, we don't have to worry too much about ABC problems. My biggest problems right now are coming out of USC. The new students are back, so we have a lot of issues with minors being provided alcohol. In one night, I was out with my crew. In a matter of, I want to say, an hour and a half, maybe, we made 8 arrests. We could have made probably double that if I had more people. So right now, that's where the focus is, in preventing youth access to alcohol. But I'm not getting any other issues out of Olympic right now. We don't have any narcotics complaints that I'm aware of. We don't have any excessive drinking complaints. We don't have any disorderly complaints. But if you are aware of something that's happening at Olympic, which is really the purpose for us attending these meetings, I'd like to let me know. My direct email address, which is the best way to get a hold of me, is Jerry with a G, so GERRY .Sanchez SANCHEZ @abc.ca.gov. And let me give you my cell number as well. It's going to be 213-215-6945. And we'll do our best. We'll do our best to help you with your problem that you might be having as a citizen, as a community organizer. And of course, we work very closely with Vice, so we're always doing things together. But if something is concerning you, send me an email, and we'll do our best to make sure that the quality of life, which is really what we're focused on at ABC, is not being impacted in such a negative way that our local residents just can't enjoy where they live.
All right, thank you very much, Jerry. Just you probably will be hearing from me, just because another hat that I wear, I run the BLQ Business Improvement District on Pico Boulevard.
Great.
So I got lots of restaurants with lots of questions right now.
Oh, fantastic! Yep, send them my way. We'll join forces, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely, because I know there's not to drag it on, but I know a lot of discussion about the legislators talking about to-go alcohol sales, and that's being discussed, and there's a lot of questions about it, and how do they qualify as an additional thing to have to do with licensing, or is their current license good enough to handle that? Also, just so you know, and I know you're probably aware of, we're still waiting to hear, and I think it's been put on hold because of COVID. I know the city was looking at an administrative liquor license as well within the city, and I know how I don't know how exactly that affects with ABC, but its own separate thing. And I know if there's some kind of coordination between ABC and the city when it comes to that, if that program is adopted.
Yeah, absolutely. Moses, just let me know. I think that whatever the city wants to do, I know that they want to do a quick, a more streamlined process where some license types can get sort of issued over the counter, or the CUP process, actually, the CUP process for it. So it doesn't have to go to the local community advisory boards. When I ran the entire LA Metro office, which was licensing and our police side, I now only run the police side of things. I was in tune with that process a little bit. I was there when it first started. But whatever the city decides to do, I can assure you that ABC will probably have to be involved, if not in the beginning, definitely at the end, because the legislation is still the same. The only agency that can actually issue the actual ABC license is ABC.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for I think that relates to the CUP process and streamlining it and that sort of thing. But I'd be more than happy to brief people on what I know. And if you give me enough notice, I'll bring my counterpart who handles the licensing side at LA. So we can have, he's the expert now. I'm no longer the expert in that arena, but I can definitely bring him along and we'll give you the latest and most reliable information.
And that'd be great. Or what I can also try to do, if it's possible with your schedule, I know that some of the restaurants, some of the owners would appreciate kind of sitting down with someone from ABC to kind of talk about like selling alcohol during COVID, particularly with the possibility of like to-go sales, if that's kind of carried forward.
Sure.
So they can kind of prepare and kind of know. Because it gets very, very tricky, and they don't want to necessarily run any risks of running afoul of anything, because we're kind of like living in an area where, you can eat outside, but you can also eat inside, and you can also order alcohol inside. But it's like questions about like where can they have that alcohol sales, if there's to go, what's the issue there, and just like general engagement with the community, because oftentimes, as you know, whenever there's a new ABC permit that's asked for, there's inevitably like some community pushback in regards to having another liquor license issue.
Absolutely. Just let me know. We can do it through C-PAB, or we can do a separate meeting for it. We can do it through Zoom if you want. We can do it in person, whatever you feel comfortable with. If you just give me a heads up, maybe give me about a week or so.
I would give you plenty of heads up. So yeah.
So I can, if I don't have the expertise on it, I'll find the experts on it, and we'll give you the latest information. That is really important for us right now, and thank you for bringing it up, because there's a lot of confusion out there when it comes to our licensees as to what they can and cannot do. Things are changing rapidly. The department is trying to adjust to these changes, but we're a state agency, so things move a little slower at our end. Business moves at the speed of light. Unfortunately, we don't, because we have to consider liability. We have to consider whether the department has the actual authority to do certain things. We get our authority from the legislature, so it gets a little trickier that way. And it's confusing for us. I can imagine how confusing it must be for our licensees. So I'll be more than happy to provide any clarity that I can bring to the table.
Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure.
Moises and Jerry, what I'll do is after this, we'll coordinate some sort of a specific meeting to this, and we'll post it up on the C-PAB website and our social media. Moises, you can get it out for your bid.
Yeah. Because so I'm not just necessarily just talking about the bid, but just I talk about the bid just because it's become kind of the de facto business entity for questions.
Sure.
As I know there's restaurants outside the bid who I run into just in my daily dealings who would love this information as well. So I see it as more like an Olympic issue versus just like BLQ issue.
Sounds good. We'll coordinate that.
Thank you.
Sounds great.
Mr. Sanchez, I had a question on when you were talking about the number of complaints. Earlier, I had 2 complaints still open, but I didn't get your maximum when you said it.
Yeah, I think we had about 8 to 10. I'll have to check with Kim. Kim is my field sergeant. She's actually right now on the C-PAB meeting with Rampart. But she's the one that opens all my complaints and all that stuff. But I think at some point we had between 8 and 10. I'm sorry?
That's good enough. I don't need it more exact than that.
Yeah, about that. I can give you the exact number, and I was personally out there on about 4 or 5.
Okay. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Oh, I saw someone with a hand up. I think it was Officer Macronian.
Hi, Moises. Thanks. Just a few minutes of your time. I just want to relay some of the information from Slow Crow and patrol purposes. Through the month of August, we've continued our field roll calls in the streets, which we think is quite beneficial. And what that comprises of is having officers that are working the beat that night, including sergeants, lieutenants, senior leads, and crew officers to go to a specific location and hold a roll call. That shows the community, the uniform presence, the engagement, and the enforcement aspect of it as well. And then the locations we've specified on has been 3 locations: 6th and Brendo, which has been a long ongoing problem spot for us with the encampments and criminal activity, along with RFK, the large school out there where the Wilshire area is, with a lot of pet activity, along with Normandy Park. And speaking of that park, well, we had one last week with Captain Sandoval was there with us as well, meeting with the directors from the park. Tonight is the last night for Summer Night Lights, which we've been working with the city since June, I believe, on that. So tonight is our last night at Normandy Park. And the field roll calls have been very beneficial. I think it shows the community the engagement efforts that the police have been involved with. Any questions on that aspect of it? Okay. And lastly, what I'll have is, since we're in September, schools have started last couple of weeks, and I think a lot of our efforts have been going towards the reopening of schools, specifically a lot of the homeless encampments, locations that have been, well, not necessarily ignored per se, but based on the fact that there were no kids, no parents coming in, and the schools were shut down for so long, it really helped open up a lot of encampments in the area. And now it's the process of trying to educate these folks to maybe move to different locations, to curtail their encampments to a smaller size, to provide that 36-inch ADA requirement for the parents, students, and others to walk on these sidewalks and curtail any type of traffic enforcement or traffic concerns and safety concerns we're having in the area. So that's one of our newer responsibilities, of course, and obligations we're conducting here in September. Thank you.
Thank you, Officer. One question about that, because it's an issue that I have to deal with all the time.
Okay.
With the recent vote by the city council in regards to the homeless encampments and kind of setting up areas to basically set up areas where people cannot set up encampments. And I know there's a certain criteria for that, 100 feet from a school or 300 or 3 feet from a light pole or hydrant. Do you know if any area like that has been designated within Olympic to try to curtail the amount of like homeless encampments, or if not, is there a process? What's going on? I tried to reach over to someone at CD1, but I haven't gotten a response back yet. So I don't know if
I'll relay this to my captain. I'll relay this to my captain as well to make sure if she has anything further on it. But what I've discussed with UHRC, which handles and specializes in our homeless issues, Captain, are you okay if when we discuss that, you have something you want to present before?
Go ahead.
Okay. Speaking of to them regarding this new legislation piece, so we're still waiting for us to have the approval for us to enforce this issue. And what the specificity on it is, anything 500 feet towards schools, places of worship, and specialized locations of that nature. It's the 500 feet area that we can enforce for not having encampments set up in those areas. So that could be general. The 3 feet you were talking about, Moises, is more specific to driveways of residential areas and businesses, in front of businesses, curtailing those areas. Correct. So these are some of the areas that we're going to get more information on. It's not, as far as I know, we haven't had the green light for us to proceed on this and have the training for it to make sure we're citing what we're citing for. So that hasn't gone through yet on our side. But one aspect of it, which is specific, is going to be a specialized location. So if the city sees that, let's say 6th and Brendo or 4th and Chateau is a special location because of crime issues and large number of homeless and other variables that I don't have the information to provide yet, once they identify that as a special location under the D section of that legislation, then they can provide additional cleanups, enforcement opportunities, and other entities of the city and county can provide, enforcement in that area. So that's one of the bigger areas that we're going to look at and see how that legislation plays out for our enforcement efforts. But I'm going to relate back to Captain Sandoval if she has anything further on it.
You know, Slow Milconian is 100% right. We have had certain restrictions because of COVID, so things have been very slow, but we are getting back on track. And this different legislation, Department of Sanitation, Housing, they may come up with various guidelines, but then our department has to codify it in some type of writing, a directive, a policy, a procedure, so we're all on the same standard. So Slow Milconian said it right. You know, we're just waiting for the additional information and the directive to allow us to proceed with some of these things. So we're kind of still at a stalemate, to not have a better word at this point. But I do have to say our senior leads, they know where the encampments are. They do enforce when they can. Our narcotic officers, as well as our vice officers and the patrol officers, they do their best to enforce, to ensure that someone that is in these encampments, if they need some type of assistance, housing, what have you, if they have a pet that needs help, the folks in the Olympic area and all the police stations are doing the best that they can. But I know it's a difficult situation, and we're all trying to see what is going to be the true answer. So hopefully we'll have something next C-PAB, something more solidified.
Much appreciated, and also always helpful, because I know there's they threw an awful lot at us. I'm still trying to figure out about this whole posting of notices in regards to these locations. So I need to do my own bit of reading on it as well. All right. With that said, anyone else has anything else you'd like to talk up during open forum? Does not look like it. All right. With that said, I'd like to go ahead and close up the meeting. Thank you, everyone, for making it. Thank you, Jerry, for coming. And I know you'll be expecting my email sometime soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Captain, and actually, thank you to Gabriel, and thank you, Captain, and to all the officers there at Olympic. We much appreciate it.
Thank you, Moises.
All right. Thank you, and have
Take
yourselves a good afternoon.
Thank you, everybody. Be safe, everyone. We'll see you soon.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you.